ChatGPT will have their own ability to create agents. How can you complement those models, not compete with them?
It's a good one, right?
Biggest Gen AI buzzword you're tired of?
I would say
if you're building with Gen AI or even just trying to keep up, you'll love this episode. Today, I sit down with Vitalii Duk, founder of Dynamiq, a platform that's making it ridiculously fast to build and ship AI agents, from sales to support to internal copilots. We dive deep into why voice agents are the most underrated trend in AI right now, how one AI agent replaces an entire 40-person ops team, and why you should probably stop fine-tuning your LLMs. Vitalii also share wild use cases from cancer treatment copilots to government-grade document verification and the one AI buzzword even he's tired of. This is a fast-paced, insight-packed episode for founders, engineers, and anyone curious about what's actually working in the AI agent space. What surprised you in Dubai so far, either in the tech scene or just a day-to-day life?
First of all, thanks for having me, Mahmoud. It's great to be here. Definitely what surprises me the most till now is how secure it is compared to the rest of the world. And I think a lot of people would confirm that. That's probably the most impressive thing, because I always, like when I'm in other parts of the world, always need to remind myself it's not as safe. So definitely the safety part is one of the most impressive things. Probably the second one, it's kind of the convenience part, how integrated the services are, and how easy it is to get things done here.
For those who haven't heard of Dynamiq, what do you do? Who are you building this for?
Sure. So my entire background and my entire career is in data science and machine learning. I spent past 11 years working in the space on the applied side of things. So I was actually doing things. I was hands-on. And what we're doing at Dynamiq is we're building an operating platform for companies to quickly build a variety of agentic AI applications and solutions. So our audience is primarily technical. So if you take our ICP, it's engineers, data scientists, and anyone who is quite technical. And we're helping them with all the tooling that they need to take an AI agent from the idea to production. So it includes the low-code builder, where you can quickly put together a variety of agentic workflows, deploy that, have the observability, guardrails, evaluations as part of the same platform, deploy it in the cloud or on-premise. So at the end, it's a dev tool, I would say, that helps these companies to not spend, let's say, months, but days or hours to get something to production.
So Dynamiq is specifically for dev people to help them ship code faster? No.
Ship agents, right? So they don't actually need to code much. Okay. That's the beauty of the platform. So it's a low-code platform where you don't need to be coding yourself. But you still need to have some technical capabilities. It can be also a product manager with a technical background, but because AI agents are still a new thing, so you need to understand some concepts to be able to build something that actually works in production. But we're reducing the amount of time it takes to get to production.
So what's the main problem that you guys struggle to solve here, which is the ability to create AI engines faster?
Yeah, so creating them fast. So instead of spending, as I said, like months to get something to production, it takes hours or a couple of days to ship something and have that ready, which includes also a pre-built UI components as well. So we're not just giving you an API endpoint for this agent. You also have different variations of UI components or like form factors for these agents. You can just copy, paste, customize, and embed it into your existing application.
You have to send me those screenshots. I'll involve
them. Yeah, sure. We do podcast. Have that.
So let me tell me a specific use case. I mean, you said AI agents, but it's very vague, very broad.
Of course.
What exactly you empower your customers to do, agents to do what exactly?
So there are three main categories on which we focus. Obviously, the first one, probably the biggest one, is customer-facing agents, which I would say it's Chatbot 2.0. I don't like to call it a chatbot because it goes way beyond the classic chatbots as we know them. But if you think in terms of chatbots, it's a chatbot that also has access to your internal knowledge base, internal APIs, so you can connect it. Let's say if you're a B2B SaaS platform that, let's say, helps to book cleaning services, right? You can create an agent where your customers in conversational manner would be able to select the time which is more suitable for the cleaning service, and the agent will be automatically booking this in your system, in your CRM through APIs. So through conversation, it will ask about, what's the time that is most suitable for this customer, what type of service exactly they want. And the agent will be kind of communicating automatically or autonomously with the APIs of your backend and kind of doing all of that fully autonomously. So that's the first case where you create customer-facing agents that can converse with your customers and also interact with your internal knowledge systems and APIs. That's the biggest one. There is a second type of use case, which is internal copilots or internal assistants for your internal teams. And that can be HR, legal, operations, product, similar to the customer-facing ones, but just targeted at a different type of audience. So you can connect, let's say, your Jira, Confluence, and other systems, and then give your product managers a conversational interface to ask a variety of questions like, hey, what are the tasks that we're planning for the next sprint, or can you add this task to this sprint, and things like that. Same for other teams, like the legal team. It might be something that helps them review contracts, create new contracts, things like that. So that's the second biggest type of use case. And the third one, which is very diverse, but that's where we see the most opportunity, it's back office automations. So a lot of companies, they have huge back office teams that deal with reviewing documents or matching things together. So one example might be a fintech company that wants to create an AI agent that does the automated loan pre-approval. So let's say your users or your customers during the onboarding, they fill in some form, they upload some supporting documents, and before someone had to review all of that based on internal policies, make a decision, and that might take a couple hours or a couple of days. Right now, they can build an AI agent that connects to these internal policies on loan approval, connects to credit bureaus through APIs, and receives that information from the user, including supporting documents, which can be PDFs, scanned documents, whatever it is, and then make a decision on its own, or at least provide the operations manager the decision for them to kind of press the button, either to approve or not that loan. And there's hundreds of or thousands of such back office tasks where someone would need to analyze some documents, make some decision based on some sort of rules. So if this is pretty well defined process and it's quite routine, most probably it can be automated with an AI agent.
Man, that's so broad. Okay, I don't know where to start. So the first category. So basically, let me give you a use case. So basically, let's say if I'm customer facing, so customer service salespeople, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's say if I need to do a masterclass in Dubai next month, and I have, can I tell this agent to call those 1,000 people and to try them to book or buy this ticket, and they buy the ticket and they think they were talking to an actual salesperson?
So that's one of the cases. It can be
Man, that's insane. Wait, how much time do it take me to create such agent?
Depends. I mean, depends, right? So how kind of complex the tasks should be, but like it's usually a couple of days.
And the voice, does it sound like a human or like a robot?
So if you want to enable like a voice type of thing, we do have integrations. We're not obviously kind of building these voice models on our own, but we do have integrations with likes of 11 Labs and others. So these days, of course, these models are pretty close to the real human.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do have these integrations as well.
So the agents that you guys create, you mostly started with chat, not really voice first.
No, we also do voice.
Okay.
And so at the end, if I one more time would summarize what we're doing, we're trying to kind of create a platform that orchestrates all the models that exist right now, all the tools that exist right now in the market, from voice to text to voice capabilities, variety of LLMs. So we've integrated more than 20 LLM providers into one platform, so it makes it easier for you to switch between models. Like if you've been using, let's say, OpenAI, like O3 model, and now Anthropic released just a couple of days ago Claude 4, you want to switch that and see if your agents perform better, you can do this quite quickly on the platform. But yeah, we do voice and images and other types of documents and textual, conversational stuff. What we don't do right now is kind of video stuff, because it's another type of use case which we don't touch yet.
But let's say something like this, which is I create a sales agent, use voice and call those 1,000 customers and agree with them to sell them tickets for a certain date. How much time will it take me if, let's say, I'm not technically savvy? How much time will it take me to create such agent on your platform?
So as I said, it might be like a week or a couple of days just to... It can be faster, but there's always...
learning curve.
There's a learning curve, but there's also a time it takes to test it, right? Because you can create something, you test it on one or two scenarios, it works well, but what we typically help customers with is to test it on all the edge cases and all the things that might go wrong, right? So in order to take it to production, it needs to be well tested.
And the second category, which is another one I'm very excited about, is as a copilot. So you're saying you can connect to any software, let's say ClickUp or Jira. Man, I hate using Jira. And I basically can ask questions to my big never-ending backlog.
That's the main kind of thing that agents are good at. So if you have a clear set of endpoints like Jira does, right? Jira has a very clear set of endpoints that you can connect to the agent. So here's the endpoint to create tickets. Here's the endpoint to search tickets, like very granular ones. And once you connect them to the AI agent that is powered by a model like OpenAI O3 or Anthropic Claude 4, it will analyze your query. Let's say you can say, like, show me, or take all the tickets that we didn't finish in this sprint and move them to the next sprint. It can be done in one single message, right? You just type it in, and then the agent will kind of retrieve all the tickets that were not finished. And first it will understand what's the current sprint. Like, it will probably do a couple of queries, understand which is the current one, which tasks have not been finished, and then move them. So you don't need to spend some time on doing this manually. But yeah, that's pretty trivial example. There's obviously more complex ones. So for one of the customers, what we've done, they have a very complex B2B SaaS platform. And it's very complex. And they've connected around like 45 API endpoints to the AI agent that we help them create. So now their users can actually interact with our platform in a conversational manner. So they can ask questions like, hey, show me all the contracts active, and then it will give them a list of contracts, or like, show me what contracts are about to expire in this month, and then it gives them that. It can also do some slicing and dicing on top of the API endpoints, so it becomes much easier to use some very complex platforms like Jira, for example, right? Sometimes there's like millions of buttons out there, like, you need to click, and you get lost. So imagine, chatting just with Jira in a conversational manner. would be much faster.
I mean, the Jira example, because we just had an intern as a product manager, and I told him, go learn Jira. It took him a few days, and it's very finicky. So if you have the ability to just talk to Jira and like, I want to do this here, this here, this here, instead of going and learning how to do the flows, and it's not that intuitive. Again, I can talk about Atlassian product until I die. But you said that you can create those agents and train them with their customers' data, correct?
Yeah.
And how much will it take this time from creating this agent to train with the customer data? Because the customers need to gather their own data and clean their data to be consumed by your AI agent. Usually, how much will it take the whole thing?
So the way it works right now, there are two ways you can train these agents, right? One way, which was more popular earlier, but now I think there's less demand, is actually taking some models and fine-tuning them on your customer data. So you take an LLM and then you fine-tune it to perform specific tasks. But because LLM models are getting better and better, there's less and less need to actually fine-tune them for specific tasks. Even though it's part of the platform, we do have that functionality. It gets less and less traction these days. So the way these agents are kind of trained, or I wouldn't prefer the term train, but like how they can know more about your company based on your data is by using something called RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation. So every agent we build has this capability to connect to your internal or couple of internal knowledge bases. And the data can live on your Google Drive or Notion or other sources. So we help you connect in a couple of clicks these data sources, and you label them, you name them, you say, okay, this is internal policies and procedures on HR, and this is some product requirement documents living in this folder. So you create that structure. And the beauty is that this data can be unstructured. So it can be documents, PDFs, images, whatever. We take care of like ingesting and pre-processing this unstructured data. So you don't need to spend much time actually preparing that on your own. And then the agent can, knowing the context of each, let's say, folder or each knowledge base, can decide which one to query and which documents to retrieve based on the query. Like if you say, what are the vacation policies? It will know that it needs to retrieve data from this HR policies Google Drive. And if you ask something about like product roadmap, it will know that it needs to go to this other Google Drive folder or whatever Notion page maybe, and retrieve data from there. So that's how it typically works. So we don't really train, we just tell the agent
Where to get
this information from, and it queries that. It can also be a query to a SQL database as well. So you can tell it, this is the connection to our, God forbid, production database, where you can create your own queries and get the results. So you can ask something about like the metrics and KPIs, and it will be able to create its own query, run it, get the result, and produce you the answer. So that's another thing.
So the majority of the time, let's say if a client want to implement AI agent in their own, that reads from their own data lakes, the majority of the time will take them to clean the data, sort the data out, and basically you don't spend a lot of time training the model. You just go use RAG to retrieve whatever information that you see fit.
Exactly, and it's more about structuring this data in the correct format. Also having the right descriptions, because for example, if we want to query some data warehouse, we need to make sure that the agent has labels for this data. There are proper descriptions for each table and for each field.
But most data is unstructured. You know this more than I do. Or what do you guys do in this case when the data is very messy and unstructured?
So when, as I said, like before, there's a way to connect structured data, like from SQL data sources, but there's a way to connect something that just unstructured PDFs and stuff like that. The way it works, like on the background, when you connect these unstructured data sources, there is an ingestion pipeline. So it reads these documents, it understands, okay, this is a PDF. we need to pre-process PDFs in a specific way and convert it to a bit more structured markdown format, or take images and convert them, take docx files and others. So we do a bit of pre-processing, but in an automated way, converting all these files into some a bit more structured format, and store it in the vector database. So it's faster to retrieve based on like semantic and vector search from these vector databases.
Man, you've been a data scientist in the machine learning sector for a while now. Was there a moment or like a certain insight that pushed you from this should exist to need to build this right now?
I think this ChatGPT moment, right? Because as you said, I've been in this space for many years and doing primarily classic machine learning and building also machine learning platforms for regression models and classification models. But then at some point when ChatGPT got released and we started using it in production, realized that it changes a lot. Like we don't need the whole set of ML models that we've been building before at all. Like before, we used to build a sentiment analysis model, just like a very narrow specialized model to do sentiment analysis, or like entity extraction or classification of some text. Like, is it this or that? And LLMs basically just replace all of that. That's when I realized now there is a big shift towards a different type of tools that people would need to have to run these models in production. And that's kind of how we ended up with Dynamiq and the idea for Dynamiq.
And how is building for Gen AI agents different from traditional ML or SaaS platforms you've worked with before?
So first of all, it's such a new space, right? There's a lot of uncertainty right now. So the way you evaluate the agents is different from anything else, because these are also conversational. In most cases, it's conversational agent that outputs some text where it's very hard to assess how good is the answer. So evaluating them is different. Figuring out how to connect external tools as well, or how to enable agent-to-agent communication. That's why you see these days there's a lot of initiatives. Like Google is creating their own way of communicating between agents, like A to A. We're part of another initiative by Cisco that also tries to structure the way the agents work. So that's the most challenging part, because everyone has their own understanding of how these agents should work, how they should connect to external data sources, external tools, external agents. That's the most challenging part, because you're almost like on the frontier, and you're basically trying to navigate how it should look like in the future.
Oh, man, but I mean, I know you for a few years now. You're close friends, but Dynamiq was initially you guys have a different product, and then you guys pivoted, or no, not really?
No, it was almost the same. We just kind of like increased the scope. Initially, the scope was just limited to LLM ops, so helping you, do the proper tracing, observability, and deployment of your LLM workflows. So we didn't have agents in the early days, and we've been focusing a lot on like deployment of open source LLMs and fine tuning of open source LLMs and things like that. And then agentic AI started to become a thing last year. That's where we realized, okay, we now need to add also a support of AI agents. So you don't just build simple LLM workflows, you actually build workflows that have agents within them. So you can have one part of the workflow that is predetermined, and then some part that is fully autonomous where the agent is plugged in. But that's the only kind of shift or a change that we've made, just to add that as well, because that just became very obvious. Agents are the new thing.
But how can you not get burned out? Me, to be honest, I stopped being informed of what's happening. Google, Claude, every time we have a new model, DeepSeek came out, and building a company on top of those models, man, it's not easy to always keep track of those things.
Indeed, I think it's very hard because the market and the industry is changing so fast, and sometimes it's just like three different major releases in a week, and then you need to understand, okay, now does it change something for us or not really? And yeah, it definitely is definitely challenging because such a I think our kind of cognitive capabilities are not ready for such a speed, right? Sometimes it's definitely overwhelming.
So how can, in this kind of environment, how can you build a product and not know that ChatGPT or AI will have their own ability to create agents? How can you complement those models, not compete with them?
Um, it's a good one, right? I feel the market. First of all, the market is gonna grow. We're still early, so if you provide enough value, and if you build a great user experience and you solve the pain points that users have, there's definitely a niche for you. If you do it well, you can survive. Obviously, you want probably to build something that is a bit more distanced from the core product of OpenAI or Anthropic or other big players in this LLM space. And I think the great way to look at this, if you look, for example, at OpenAI VC fund, they have a fund that they use to invest in some startups, and you can see what they invest in. And I would say, probably the things that they invest in, this is something they would not be
That's a good
building. Same for Anthropic. Anthropic and Menlo Ventures, they also have a fund together where they invest in startups. So if you look at what they invest in, I think this is probably a safer space. So in general, it's building more specialized agents and more specialized experiences. And that's where we also are moving towards, from a generic platform to a bit more specialized agents with specialized user experience and things like that.
Man, there is so many things you can do on Dynamiq. The use cases are almost limitless, but what's like the most common things that you see from your customers?
As I said, all types of customer-facing stuff is the most common, because someone wants to build, let's say, a simple customer support agent for their website, and there are people that come to us because they've tried Intercom, for example, and it's a bit too expensive because they charge per resolution, which is a great model, but $1 per resolution for companies that have a big volume might be too much. So what they can do on Dynamiq is just build their own agent that is much cheaper, because you're kind of like almost paying for consumption and some platform fee, but it's not growing exponentially in terms of the cost of serving more customers. So that's why that's one of the most popular things. But then there is also a whole bunch of custom agents that people want to build, or companies want to build, where they don't find it in these ready-to-use black box platforms. So one of the examples that we've been discussing recently was one of the customers. They want to build like a financial controller, an agent, AI agent, that to some extent replaces or complements financial controller. So it connects to your internal financial systems like QuickBooks and other accounting software, and can analyze this data, provide some insights, connect to some external APIs as well. So this is something that doesn't exist anywhere yet, and maybe it's too niche that it won't exist. But they're capable of building this on the platform.
Do you have any use cases that caught you by surprise? A client came and told you, "Hey, can we build this, and this?"
every day this happens because there's so many ideas that people come with. I think one of the recent ones that we've actually helped implement was the cancer research
No way.
agent. So it's something that helps doctors basically to create a better cancer treatment plans. So this agent, first of all, it should be very thorough when like asking the follow-up questions. So it needs to go very deep into the patient's history, what kind of treatments they had before, kind of lab results they had. So it's very, very detailed. So it kind of interrogates almost the doctor to give as much information as they can, not like as the regular ChatGPT where it would just ask a couple of questions and that's it. Then it also it's grounded on only validated research, so it's only specific categories of like PubMed research and stage 3 clinical trials, only things like that. And then only after that, it does the generation of the final treatment plan, which based on the feedback that we've got from many doctors, it's much, much better than anything that exists right now in terms of like regular LLMs.
So you're saying a copilot that work with the doctors and take notes along the way and help have access to all the information available out there, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So it has access to first the EMR, so patient medical record data. It has access to specific data from like medical research, but only verified and validated medical research. It has access also to specific guidelines as well the doctors should follow. So it's only operating on top of like guidelines that are written like NCCN and others. And then based on that, it creates the treatment plan.
Man, since the AI agent came into existence, I've seen a lot of use cases for customer support. And I think it's red ocean at this stage. Everyone's doing customer support, which is fine. I understand the usability of it. But health tech, man, this gets me really excited because the impact that such thing can have in health tech, especially doctors and nurses, they have a really high error rate, and the AI agent will have relatively lowest error rate. It's just insane, man.
And that's one of the things, because in most cases, these agents, they kind of don't they forget less than humans, right? That's how I put it. So it also kind of directs the doctor in the right direction to think of different things. But yeah, indeed, customer support is red ocean. There's a lot of other things that can be built with AI agents. Another example might be this big government entity. So they receive a lot of, let's say, applications, like millions per month, right? And there's some form that the customers are filling in. There's some supporting documents that they upload, like some PDFs or a bunch of these PDFs. And before, they had another like entire team of 40 people where they would open these applications. They will compare side by side the PDF versus the form that was filled in to make sure the names match, the company name matches, the activities of the company name matches what they've been applying to. And it would take them hours to do this. Now it all can be done by an AI agent, very simple one though, that reads all these documents, compares them, and flags if there's some inconsistencies without a need for like humans to actually spend time on this. And in this tasks, agents proven to be, based on like A/B tests, proven to be much more accurate, because as humans, we're not very good at like comparing side by side two different documents. We tend to kind of let the mistakes slip through, because it's very easy to test. Like if you write 2 words and make a single mistake in one of the words. Like most probably, if you glance at it, like you would not notice that there's one letter wrong in this word. But AI agents can spot that, and that increases the accuracy by far.
This is another area I'm very excited about. In governments, there are a lot of shadow work, which is always uploaded. They have a lot of employees and basically doing very minimal work. And basically, AI can increase efficiency as well.
No, it definitely increases productivity by like 10x, I would say.
Hell yes.
So that's pretty exciting as well.
I mean, I hope here the UAE government will adopt such. It's already adopting such a thing. AI.
It's already doing that. So it's I think it's pretty moving pretty fast. So
you're building an all-in-one Gen AI stack. How do you avoid feature bloat while staying ahead of the curve?
That's not easy. Sometimes. I think the major thing you need to be doing is be open to feedback, either from the team or from customers. If you see something is not performing as it should, or like some features are used less than you expected, then you just don't focus on that, especially in the early stages, right? And that's what we do. Like we try to see like what rings the bell with the customers and focus more attention there. That's kind of how you keep focus, because you have a small team, you need to be very, very focused. So put the energy where the demand is. That's it.
And what is the biggest misconception that companies have about Gen AI today, and how do you help them to see the real value of it?
I think the major misconception is that AI agents can do everything. We see a lot of requests where people already think we're at AGI stage.
Really, like what?
Like, the other day I was talking to someone, and they came in with a request like, I want to build AI board of directors. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And the way they explained it, the guy was like, I want to come on a call, like a Zoom call, and there's like 4 AI agents, like CFO, CMO, a chief operations officer, maybe even a CEO. So he as the owner of the business becomes like a president, just kind of runs these agents, and then he communicates with them and they give some insights, updates. And I was like, this is great, but like we're still a bit too far from that, unless you invest a lot of time and effort in building such custom thing, because it's not easy. But I feel that indeed there's some expectation that, well, AI now can do everything, where AI agents are still, they're very good at like automating tasks that are pretty like simple or mid complexity, and where there's a pretty defined way of doing things. So if you know how to quickly write down like an SOP for this, then this is probably a good task for an agent. Like if it's pretty vague and there's a lot of uncertainty, I don't think that's a good thing for an AI agent to be solving right now. Maybe in a year or two, but I think that people are way too excited. They want to try that for everything.
I mean, you're a very interesting point now. How can you educate non-technical stakeholder while building a technical product for like engineers, product managers?
So probably the easiest way is for companies to start doing something, start prototyping, start investing a bit of time and effort on seeing what's possible, because that's how they can learn what is doable and what's not. If I go and try to explain, this is possible, this is not possible, first, not everyone will believe me, or like they would say, like maybe we'll talk to someone else. But if they try and they see the limitations, that's the easiest way. That's why I always advise companies they need to start investing some time and start doing things today. Like, don't wait for a fully formed AI strategy to be there or fully formed set of use cases. Just empower your teams to do something quick, test and fail, maybe do it on smaller scale. And that's where what we're building at Dynamiq can help them, because we provide them a set of tools that can help them do this faster. So they don't need to hire a huge team. They don't need to invest a lot in the infrastructure or other tooling. They have everything as part of one platform and just kind of start shipping and building something very quickly. And that's the only way. You need to start trying yourself.
I mean, I'm curious, why did you decide to build a platform and, as per the saying, sell picks and shovels and not go for an AI vertical agent to solve a specific problem?
It's a good one. I think major reason that I spent most of my career building platforms. So I've done it before for a couple of years at Careem, where I was in charge of the ML Ops platform and A/B testing platform and entire like data and AI infrastructure. So before that, I've been also involved with similar things in other companies. So that's what I do well. That's what I know well. But now we're actually seeing that some of the most common agents we can productize as the almost like a separate sub-product on top of the platform. So nothing stops us from actually building a specialized agents on top of what we already have. Because I believe that in the short run, horizontal platforms win, because that's how you can learn where's the demand, like what can be done, what can't be done. And it gets us exposed to hundreds or thousands of different customers, different use cases. And now we see, what can we do that is a bit more specialized. And I'm not opposed to having a more specialized agents on top of the platform that can be used as standalone thing. So users don't actually need to customize it or build it from scratch. They already plug in an existing agent.
So regarding AI, I tend to not to ask questions about predicting what was happening, but you're seeing probably in 2 or 3 years, we might see like AI agents on Dynamiq that you can go and start using, like a sale agent or like a debt collection agent.
I think it might be even faster, because we already work on some things. As you said, like we don't go into very red ocean type of use cases, but there are things around compliance or things like that we're working on right now. That might be like a standalone pre-built agents that can be used without like an engineering touch.
For me, a good platform is that has good and easy to use documentation, intuitive to use, developers like to use it, a big community. You've worked with a lot of platforms. What do you think makes a good platform?
Indeed, documentation. I think it's important, but also intuitive user interface. Something that any engineer or technical person can really understand. And sometimes you just don't need to invent the wheel. You need to look, at what already exists and try to embed similar components into your platform. So for example, we look a lot towards GitHub, because we're at the end a dev tool, and a lot of engineers are familiar with GitHub. So the way we build things, we want to make them very similar to how you do things on GitHub. So versioning, deployment part, and all the other things. So yeah, like intuitive interface that is familiar to your users. That's also what you want to have.
What was like one bet in the product that didn't pay off, and what did you learn from it?
I think LLM fine-tuning is something that didn't pay off as much as we expected, because when we started in the beginning of 2024, it was still like a hot thing. Like everyone was fine-tuning open source LLMs. but I see less and less demand for it right now, mainly because new LLM models get released super fast. So we see like almost every other week something new gets released. So if you invest a lot of time and effort in fine tuning, you need to be prepared to update your models over and over again. And not every company is ready for this, or they don't have resources, or the cost as well can be high, right? If you want to really invest into the fine tuning, and sometimes you've been fighting for this kind of couple percent increase in some of the metrics, and the new model came up from Mistral or Llama and just beats your specialized model, and then you need to start all over again. So that didn't pay off. But again, I think it's normal because, as I mentioned before, it's such a fast-moving space that it happens with others. I think large companies like Microsoft, they also face the same thing. Like they place some bets, let's say, on small language models, and then they see it doesn't really pay off, or the world is moving in the other direction, which is AI agents. That's where you shift your focus and then keep doing what makes sense.
It is a fast phase, yes. But how do you decide what to build next?
I mean, very naive answer, but like customer feedback.
It's a great answer.
I'm almost on most of the customer calls, right? Trying to understand, what they want, like what are the features they might want, or more importantly, what kind of pain points. Because features, I don't think customers will tell you how the feature should look like, but you need to understand, the pain points they're facing, and what's their long-term vision, what's their kind of strategy in terms of Gen AI, and then that's how you prioritize these features. So right now, we're solely like trying to understand, okay, this feature or this thing was asked a couple times. This is going into next sprint. We're building this. If it kind of makes sense as well in the overall like broader picture of the AI agents.
Man, so the industry is moving so fast. Having a 3-year roadmap does not make sense.
Oh no, I think our roadmap is like 1 month, 2 months. It's
Wow.
it's definitely, yeah. Like we do have some long-term vision, but it's just a vision. Like it's not a roadmap because first the speed of shipping features increased. At least if you're a smaller company, if you're a smaller startup. If you're a big enterprise, probably you still think in terms of quarters and years. But I think everyone needs to be prepared to ship fast. And the tools are there right now. So you actually need to adapt to this new reality of like fast-paced environment everywhere. Because if you're not doing this, your competitors will do. Or a new emerging competitor that was not on the roadmap last year will eat up like a big chunk of your customer base because they're moving fast.
I mean, we reached the end of the episode, but I have like a few rapid fire questions. First one, biggest Gen AI buzzword you're tired of?
I would say AI agent, which is also funny because that's what we do. But mainly because people call agents, but people call everything an agent, and most of the folks just don't know what it is. Probably the second biggest buzzword is MCP. That at least I think it's getting less and less.
Clients are asking for MCP?
Some do, but they
okay.
ask about MCP because they've read about it on LinkedIn, and
Makes sense.
they don't understand what it is. But somehow people think it's like a magic pill. Like, oh, do you have MCP? Because I believe it's gonna solve my problems. It's not.
Wow. Okay. So what's the most underrated AI trend no one is watching yet?
I think voice agents. for some reason it gets less attention these days. Definitely, a lot of companies are already building something in this space, but I think people don't really pay much attention, because even from the conversations that I have with customers, everyone is looking still at like conversational text-based agents, but voice agents are pretty cool.
Man, I had a few startups come on the podcast. They're doing voice. It's scary good.
It is, yeah.
You cannot differentiate if it's like actual person out there or like an agent. Man, it's scary good.
It is, yeah, I agree.
But what's one piece of startup advice you think is totally overrated?
This, I think
it's not the first startup. It's not your first startup here.
Yeah, there's so much overrated advice, because I think everyone's position is different. People will give you advice, but it doesn't mean everything is applicable to you. What I feel is a bit overrated is this famous phrase that you should be almost like ashamed of your first version of the product, that you need to ship something fast and then get it in the hands of the customers, which I agree, but that phrase was said like 20 years ago or whatever. It was applicable back in the day. Right now, customers do have very high expectations to your product. So yes, it's important to ship fast, but now the expectation is that the quality should be really good, because if you ship something subpar, it's just not going to get traction. So I think it's overrated to say, ship whatever crappy product and then just get it in the hands of the customers. No one will like it, and then you might not have a second chance.
Last question. There is so much opportunity in this space, and a lot of founders and engineers are reaching out. They're asking me, hey, what do you think is a good opportunity to build in the AI space? If you're not building Dynamiq, what would you be doing right now? Which opportunity will you capitalize on?
I would say anything in kind of verticalized agent space, because that's where the value is right now, and that's where you have a higher chance of survival against bigger folks like OpenAI. So they probably won't go in these kind of verticalized experiences, but also everything that might not be represented in a chat, right? Because everyone is building something which is conversational, but some of the cases that we see, they just don't need or can't be well represented in the conversational form. So you need some other type of UX, and that's where I think the focus should be. So focusing on these kind of vertical agents for specific industries, or maybe a combination of AI plus industry plus region, because there's already like a lot of players that do AI plus industry, like let's say AI plus legal is Harvey, but if you do something like AI plus legal plus Middle East, then there's still an opportunity there.
Man, Vitalii, thank you so much for making the time. Where can our audience go and learn more about you, about Dynamiq? How can we be useful to you?
My LinkedIn, which
I will include it in the show notes.
You should include. I'm pretty open. Shoot me a message, or on our website as well to learn more, even sign up, because we do have a free tier of the platform.
Oh, you have free tier as well?
Yeah, we do have a PLG where users can sign up and create their account, play around with the platform. And then if they're interested to learn more, like book a demo,